some things taste better on the East Coast. It's my very first ebook. It's really, really exciting. I've been working on it for the last year. Well, the book starts off where I talk about my experiences before the raw food diet. How did I get to the raw food diet? After talking with one of my good friends who lectured me on good eating behaviors. And after that, the book talks about basically my search for the ideal diet, and I ended up with doing raw foods. I talk about that experience, my first time as a raw vegan, and that lasted for about 3 months, and then I went back into the cooked world and I became raw vegan again, and this time it took. Basically the whole time I've been raw vegan has been on the East Coast, which makes my experience as a raw vegan, it's an experience of an East Coast raw vegan. Well, all of my strategies are pretty much low cost because I'm a student and I'm on a stipend, so I can only afford so much, just so much of anything. Probably one of the most important strategies is to eat in season because, well, for one thing, it's cheaper and the food tastes better. So those are two pluses right there. And for another reason, I feel like it prepares you for the winter, because when you're gorging out on summer fruits, usually by the end of summer you're ready for fall foods. And then when you gorge out on fall foods, then you're ready for winter. Like, you're usually ready for a change when a change actually happens. And so I find that when I actually just really embrace, you know, the spring, the summer, and the fall, by wintertime, I don't really miss strawberries and I don't really miss the summer foods. I'm actually looking forward to the winter foods. And, you know, the heavy greens like kale and collard greens, and like a really dense romaine lettuce and bok choy and tatsoi, and just love it. And so so by just really embracing those other seasons, you can really embrace the winter and all that it has to offer. One of my favorite strategies is it's the fruit picking strategy. I would just pick, you know, grocery bags full of blueberries, and this one time I picked about a grocery bag full, and it only cost me $8 for organic blueberries. I couldn't even imagine having to pay for that many blueberries in the store, but I got it for $8, and it was organic, and they were delicious, and it was great. I have lots of green smoothie recipes, and juices and breakfast recipes and nut milks, and entrees and sides, and some dips, pâtés, crackers, and desserts, pies, sorbets. I think I have 1 or 2 ice cream recipes. Overall, they're very simple recipes. I mean, even when I come back to California, I'm just reminded of how different it is on the East Coast than the West Coast. I didn't really know, I didn't know kale, I didn't know collard greens, I didn't know greens until I moved to the East Coast. They taste better after a hard frost. And so when it gets really cold, they love it, and they taste better. They taste sweeter, and they're less rough, and they're just more flavorful. And so that's one of the benefits to being on the East Coast, is that you really do get to experience greens, and I love greens. They're fantastic. And actually talk a little bit about stress. And I just kind of threw that in there because I feel like there isn't a lot talked about in terms of being a raw vegan and also experiencing chronic stress at the same time, and how those two interact, and how experiencing stress can really hamper your the benefits of being a raw vegan. And so I talk about that just to put that information out there. I was basically under a lot of stress every single day, and raw vegan at the same time. And even though raw vegan protected me from a lot of the symptoms from that stress, they eventually caught up with me, because stress always wins. And you just create an environment around yourself that maintains your lifestyle. And for me, I've found strategies to do that, because I'm one of the only raw vegans in my town. It's a small college town, and so there's not like I have a big raw vegan network in Pennsylvania. During the dead of the winter, nothing's being grown, and so whatever you get from farms, they're basically root vegetables that have been stored up and things that have been grown in the greenhouse. And so one of the strategies that I use is to store my own fruits and vegetables. And so during the summer, what I'll do is I'll buy basically boxes of tomatoes from one of my local farms, so organic heirloom tomatoes, and I'll freeze them whole. And basically I'll use them throughout the winter. And I don't use them very much. I probably use maybe like 8 to 10 a month. So it's not a lot, but it's enough to just spark up your diet. And so I'll make some crackers with them, or I'll make some kind of like ketchup, or I'll make some kind of dish with them, and that will just liven up my my diet during the winter. Or I'll freeze some basil, and I'll use it to make pesto during the winter. Some people will buy bushels of apples, which is about, I think a bushel is like 48 pounds of apples. For very cheaply, you can get a bushel of apples for like 20 bucks. And that way they can have applesauce, make apple pies, and different things like that. So storing fruits and vegetables is one way of just adding some variety to your winter diet. Just about all the recipes have nutrient profiles, so you get an idea of how much nutrients and vitamins and minerals are in each recipe. And if you're using high quality produce, you know, the estimates may be even higher for what's actually in your food. These profiles were based on USDA, their food database. Yeah, I don't think I've ever really felt restricted on the raw vegan diet, just because there's just so much out there. I mean, the food's out there, it's just waiting for you to go find it.